Hi everyone, it's Thea Monyee and I'm here for today's Truth Talks. Today's Truth Talks topic is feuding families and forgiveness. I want to thank you first because you guys have really been supportive with the past four Truth Talks and sharing them with friends and family. The response has been great and I really appreciate it. For those of you who are new, Truth Talks are a series of sessions where you write in about your dilemma with your family, your loved one, yourself, your job, or whatever it may be, and I offer back video feedback response that hopefully connects to other people and impacts their story as well. As always, Truth Talk does not replace your own intuition or your own belief system or your friends or your family members who know you so well or your significant others or a mental health professional or your doctor, nutritionist, X, Y, or Z. It is simply an objective third-party opinion, and I'm not always right, so feel free to disagree, but it's coming from love in my heart for you and my experience as a marriage family therapist and as a mother and as a woman and just as a friend and a third-party opinion. So hopefully the goal is that it helps in some way. So today's Truth Talk, feuding families and forgiveness, which I think is a fascinating topic and is pretty much all I've worked with for the past almost 10 years. So this one comes today from Valerie, and Valerie is married, and she asks a question: what do you do when you have a jealous in-law? So, dear Thea, my in-law has been treating me like crap for the past 7 years. At first, she was very nice, but when it became apparent that I was going to marry her loved one, she slowly began to pick me apart. Gradually, she started finding a problem with anything I said or did and blew it up into a huge deal, acting extremely offended even at the smallest things. She also apparently has mentioned multiple times that I think I'm better than her or anyone else. What's worse is that she began to recruit my husband's family members and friends, many of whom I was trying to build a relationship with, and told them that I did things that I never did. Basically, she began a PR campaign against me, involving our mutual friends and family members, and as a result, my husband and I stopped getting invited to family events and gatherings. This went on for years. Despite multiple requests to squash whatever beef she had with me or move towards reconciliation, including sending cards and letters and gifts, she still would not allow us to have relationships with her children and refused to have a relationship with ours. This entire time, she told everyone that I was the one responsible for the separation. After years of begging her to go to counseling, we finally went to family therapy. And it seems that the whole thing stems from her jealousy of me, that she felt like I was taking her loved one away from her. Since then, we have now hung out at 2 family events, but frankly, I'm still not over the fact that I never received an apology and I feel quite hurt. How can I get the closure on the situation that I need so I can move forward without being bitter? Valerie. Let me begin, Valerie, by acknowledging you. That is a very difficult situation to endure for 7 years. When we fall in love with somebody and we start to build a life with them, we want their family to be like our family. We want to embrace them and to be embraced. And so it has to be incredibly challenging and hurtful to go through that process for 7 years in this way. So I want to acknowledge you for that and acknowledge you for even writing and saying that I want to let go of it and I want to move forward. I think says a lot about who you are. So let me just acknowledge that first. The second thing I want to acknowledge is that it sounds like you were dealing with somebody who's a little extreme and probably has their own emotional stuff going on that you guys sound like you started to tap into with the family sessions and could probably benefit from additional individual sessions of their own to get to the root of that. So a lot of this, probably wasn't really about you. So that's a good thing to keep in mind, even though there were negative effects towards you. But when I read this, it sounds like you've already come to a resolution within your family, which was the resolution that you wanted, which was peace and no conflict within your family, to be able to enjoy family time and family space with your husband's family. So mission accomplished in that respect. However, we have to acknowledge that in order for you to get through that 7 years, one of the ways you probably coped was by suppressing your own negative feelings about this person and the situation, so that you could authentically still offer reconciliation to this person. And so what we are seeing now is that the dynamics have changed and things have calmed down. Those suppressed feelings are beginning to surface, and now the question is, what do I do with them? So the way I see it, you have two choices. Your first choice is past versus present. You were in a situation in the past that was very hurtful. However, that situation is no longer here. I have a pen here, and if I drop this pen, it's dropped. Now, I can go back, I can pick the pen up, but I can never undrop the pen. And that's the same thing it is with the past. She can't undrop the pen. And the truth is, an apology cannot undrop the pen. So the apology can't erase the past or the hurt that came with it. The only thing an apology could do at this point for you, which you have to be honest, and that's okay if that's what you want, is to be some sort of admission of guilt or wrongdoing. And that's okay. If we want the apology because we want this person to acknowledge what they did was wrong, at least we're being honest about why we want the apology. The problem, though, is that's beyond our control. We can't force an apology. We can't even make the decision for the person to feel bad. They may not. They may feel very justified in what they did. They may feel like they had good reasoning at the time for doing what they did. So I don't want you to be stuck with the apology as a prerequisite for moving forward, because the apology is outside of your control. And the apology can do nothing to undrop the pen or to erase the past or the hurt that comes with it. And that brings us to the present. The present is the present that you worked for 7 years to get. It's a conflict-free resolution and a more positive environment. Now, you worked 7 years to get that to happen. I would hate to see you undo it because you don't get an apology. That is outside of your control, right? I want you to be able to enjoy the peace in this present that you created and invested in all that time. So you have a choice to make. I can decide to hold on to a painful past, or I can decide to enjoy a peaceful present that I helped to build, that I pretty much almost single-handedly built, right? So if that's your choice, which I think that should be the choice, your next choice is to forgive. Now, the concept of forgiveness is really misused, and the understanding of it can be really skewed. Most people believe forgiveness means letting the person off the hook, wherever the hook is. It's an imaginary hook that people believe people just dangle from, or that it says the person's not doing anything wrong or that they were justified. It does none of that. I'm going to put it in a nutshell for you. What forgiveness does is forgiveness allows you to let go of a past narrative that no longer exists. In the past narrative that you have with this in-law, she is your oppressor, or you're the perpetrator, and you are the victim. But in the present, that is not true. And truly, it never actually was true, because you showed great strength and no victim mentality in how you conducted yourself over the past 7 years. So the question is, why would we want to keep ourselves in a narrative that had us being victimized or depicts us as victimized, just so that we can keep someone else in the role of a perpetrator? Forgiveness is releasing the past narrative that no longer exists. It is not here. What is here is the present. And so if you let go of the past narrative, you can create a new narrative based on the understanding and the peace you have here in the present. So I'm not at all saying that you should even determine or examine whether or not this person was right or wrong. You felt how you felt, and everything that happened actually happened. It's just not here anymore. What I'm saying is forgiveness will allow you to do what you asked for. And what you asked for was, how do I let go of the bitterness so that I can move on and enjoy this present peace that I helped to create? And you can do that by letting go of the story, by letting go of the roles that you assigned each other in this story, and by creating a new story based on who you are to each other right now. Now, in this story, maybe you only see each other 3 times a year. Maybe you only hang out at family gatherings and you don't do anything one-on-one. That's fine. It's your story, but it's based on the present and what you understand now. I hope that makes sense. So that can be a challenge to do in real life, right? It sounds great. The like forgive and let go and no more narrative, blah, 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 blah. It sounds very in the air. So what I would like to do, Valerie, is challenge you to do an exercise that I have the women in my She workshop do, which is a forgiveness exercise. If you're up for it, here it goes. All you need are tea candles, the little tea light candles, and you want to place 2 of them out every morning. You light them both, and you get real quiet, real still in yourself, and I want you to forgive yourself for something, for a time when you were not your best self, or when you were doing the best you could with what you understood at the time and would have done better if you had new information, but you didn't. Forgive yourself for that and blow out 1 candle. And then I want you to think of this person who you feel hurt you and who you're stuck in this narrative with. And I want you to think that, they wanted to do better, but they did what they did based on the information and the understanding they had at the time. And you forgive them for something, and you blow out the candle. I want you to do this every day for 30 days. I know that sounds like a lot of time, but it really begins to feel good once you begin doing it. And say you actually run out of things to forgive her for, forgive somebody else. Get through the whole 30 days and see if it's actually helping you to move forward. See if it's creating new space in you to create this new narrative. My guess is that it will. Another suggestion I have is there's a book called Total Forgiveness by R.T. Kendall. Now, this book is Christian-based, and I don't know if you're Christian or not. So, and some of the people watching may not be Christian, but don't get caught up on that. No matter what we are or what we believe, we can all learn from each other. So if you can get past the religious aspect of the book, it has some amazing, amazing concepts on forgiveness, which really helped me to understand and apply forgiveness in a completely different way. And again, it's called Total Forgiveness by R.T. Kendall. So we'll recap. First, let's acknowledge that you are a tremendous person with a tremendous capacity for love, and therefore I already know that you're capable of the forgiveness that you need to offer so that you can move forward and enjoy the peace you've created. So your choice now is the pain of the past or the peace in the present that you created. And if you choose the peace in the present, then you do so through the act of forgiveness, which doesn't require that you say, hey, excuse me, just want you to know I forgave you. It just requires that inside you let go of that narrative and say, she's not the perpetrator, I'm not the victim. We are here right now to create a peaceful, loving family together. And that's something we finally agree on. I really hope this helps. Thank you again for sharing your story with Truth Talks. And if any of you are interested in sharing your story with me and receiving video feedback, you could be in a Truth Talks. Email me at bookthea@gmail.com, and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day. Bye.